Action Johnny here. We've got a little something a little different for you today. Um, Rather than carry on with my lion experiment, I'm going to take a brief interlude from that to bring you a recorded cup game that I played yesterday. Um, this was my top 32 game in the current Discord Cup, which is number 5. And it was versus a chap called FartingHorse, which is a great name. Don't know how he came up with that one. Um, and yeah, no, I mean, it was a pretty important matchup for me in a couple of ways because I've never made it past the top 32 of the Discord League. It's a sort of wall I've been banging my head against for a while. I've just had some very tough matchups in that round. In the past, I've had Chris Potorf, aka Frotop, as Scorpion, just as he was building his Mono no Awari deck, and he knocked me out. And then the following season, I had Daidoji Mika, who is a fantastic player, and he knocked me out. Um, and then last season, I didn't even make the top 32. I got knocked out by Toreadori, who was playing Crane Lion, and he quite handily disposed of me in 25 minutes in a game that I think tilted me more than any other game I've ever played. I quit the game for 3 weeks after that loss. I was fuming. Not Toreadori, he's a nice chap, but the circumstances of the game, which is silly because it's just a game, but you know, sometimes our losses affect us. Anyway, it's a lovely Saturday morning here in Vancouver. You know, I'm not in work till 7, so I'm just going to sit on my sofa outside here, enjoying the sun, got my coffee, and we're going to watch the replay of the top 32 game I just had versus Fighting Horse. And I'm just going to talk or sort of commentate the game. The reason I recorded it was not just for the channel, it was really just to help myself improve, look at my play, look at my lines of play, and see what was lacking, what could be done better. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Do. Wow, this is some serious Inception shit. Okay. Good crack. So, there's probably going to be some resolution stuff that's happening here throughout the video, but that's fine. We're just going to have to deal with that. So, I start with a pretty good dynasty flop, all things considered. I sort of agonize slightly on what to do here. I wanted to get Satoshi, but I also kind of wanted to... I needed enough fate to be able to play Talisman and Charge. I remember thinking that. So I took a bit of a gamble, and I think what I end up doing is fetching Satoshi with just a fate. So I should explain to the viewers at home as well that my opponent is on a slightly unconventional Crane Lion deck. So obviously I was nervous going into this game because Toreadori knocked me out in 25 minutes flat last time with a similar deck, except I believe the main difference was Toreadori had Stand Your Ground, and this guy's running Legion of One instead. Both very good cards. Legion of One allows for some pretty crazy things with the Steward of Law, and Stand Your Ground gives a bit of extra board stickiness. It's going to be very nasty and really help with Crane's tempo early on. So yeah, I buy Satoshi and pass, and he buys Daidoji, Narishma, and passes. You both bid. I can't remember what I'm looking for here, but I remember thinking, I remember, of course, it's Spyglass. I'm looking for Spyglass, basically. So I give a big opening bid. And I don't get Spyglass, but I do have 2 Watch Commanders and Talisman in hand. So knowing that he's on Crane Lion, and therefore not running attachment control, I think, okay, Dan, let's try and go for a dishonest strategy here. You've got the tools in that opening hand there to reasonably dishonor him out. We can do a 1 spike next turn. Really start to put the pressure on. But yeah, Crab Unicorn is a very heavy conflict deck. I'm just checking my opponent's deck list here by the looks of things. No place to hide there. Anyway, yeah. For those of you not unfamiliar with the Discord Cup, it is an open decklist format. That means I can see my opponent's decklist and he can see mine. So there are no surprises. There's just lines of play. And I actually kind of like that. It's a very tough competition. Some people think it's the toughest competition. I haven't been to any Kotais yet, so I can't comment on that. But, you know, people like Chris Potorf and I think Heinzel as well. You know, people who've been to big Kotais all over the world have said that they think this is the top tier of competitive players. But I don't know. All I do know is that it's fucking hard. And I regularly lose. So, you know, there you go. Right, so at this point I think I'm just figuring out what my idea of the phase is. He draws his bloody way of the crane, of course, straight up. So he honors Savvy Politician and instantly honors Narishma. So that makes charge hard for me. So my tactic now becomes I need to turn off Voice of Honor, and I need to be able to either play charge or Gaijin Customs, because I've obviously just drawn into that. So what do we have here? He decides to attack militarily first, which is wise, and he flips the worst province for me this turn, which is defend the wall. Like, I have to choose to really commit to this, or I'm going to have to talisman and move it. Now, based on the information I have, I'm thinking it's unlikely I'm going to win a military with my board and my hand. I have, at best, the ability to pump to 1 for the talisman, 2 if I charge the Vanguard Warrior, so that's 3, and then I can get an extra 3 military strength from my box. However, that leaves me without any fate to follow up a counter. So my tactic here is, first things first, I'm not taking any chances. I gotta get that talisman on Satoshi. I waited to play the talisman because I didn't want that to influence his choice when it came to attacking. Now, I had put the envoy in here because I was aware that my plan was going to move the conflict to Shameful. And I really, really wanted for Shameful not to break this turn as well. So I was like, you know, in the off chance that he's got buffs or charge or whatever, because he's probably got something, right? I was like, I need to put an extra defender in so I can get an extra stat pump with my box. This may or may not have been a mistake. Another little cheeky check in the deck is there. So he's only got a charge, we can see there. He's only got 1 noble sacrifice. I think that's probably what I'm afraid of. Ugh. And of course, I get policy debated. First action, which is a risky one for him. So I'm definitely going to bid 1 because I've already decided in my head at this point that I'm going to go for a dishonor strategy. But I want to make it seem like I'm not going to bid 1. So I think about it for a bit. I think I make it look like I'm doing the maths to figure out what I need to win. But realistically, this is just a bluff. I'm just purposefully drawing out the bid time here, so I can try and take some honor from him. And this is it's kind of bad because I've conceded the duel at this point. So he bids 3 and I bid 1. And that basically means Gaijin Customs is definitely going out of my hand. So the couple of repercussions from this means A, I'm not going to be able to stand Satoshi. So he is basically, if he wants, going to be able to do 2 conflicts this phase because of his standing savvy politician and my lack of assassinate. So I'm just figuring out the exact lines, the exact sequencing of the actions I need to do here. Because I do need to move it to shameful. And he completely makes the right choice and he discards customs. Nothing else in my hand is particularly impactful. Maybe the court games, but I mean, discarding court games from policy debate, unless it's unless what you need to win the game, so it feels a bit weak. Oh god! And then I was waiting for him to make a choice on his policy debate for so long that I misclicked pass, and I instantly realised what I did, and definitely didn't pass because I think if I pass here, I actually lose the game. Because I lose the conflict, Satoshi becomes dishonoured. He then does noble sacrifice, which it looks like he's playing towards. He's got an honoured, no fake character. Yeah, so we just correct the issue here, and he's a good chap. He realises that obviously that was a complete mistake. Otherwise, it makes no sense for me to pass there. So yeah, good chap, FartingHorse. I mean, that is one of the harder things about playing online. Yes, you sort of do get prompts for your actions, which make things easier. It's like remembering Watch Commander, for example. But then misclicking an action window or passing when you don't mean to is so much easier to do on Jigoku than it is in real life. You can't click pass in real life and it's done. You sort of you have to be like, okay, I'm ready to pass. I think I'm ready to pass. I'm passing. And it's a bit more free and easy with paper cards. Anyway, we fix it. I move the conflict across to shameful display, and this is my one opportunity to stop his cancel. I don't know if he has it at this point. I assume he does. I always assume they have him. Sorry, gang. So I then shameful. So my worry now is with his second conflict, he's just going to do void and he's going to kill my Satoshi, who I've just attached a talisman to. And to make matters worse, he just pops a full strength Legion of One, so he's breaking now. So my only choice, since he took customs, is to spend my last fate on charge, which I have to do. And I can box now, and I can make him spend more. So he's passing. Is he passing? So this, I think I should have passed here because he's not breaking. So this is what I do. I don't pass. I think he passed because he assumes I'm going to box in an attempt to win, and then he plays the Banzai and he gets the extra 3, knowing that I probably have no more buffs, which is a very good play from him. When really what I think I should have done there is just looked very carefully at that pass, probably figured out what he was trying to do, and seeded the conflict. But you know what? He's done his Banzai. He's not winning, but now one more buff, a katana will do it for him, if he has the katana. And that's my shameful broken turn one, which fucking hurts against Crane, especially when it's a tough province for them to take. But he does it. He does it. He has the cards in hand. He goes down to 4 cards. He realises the importance of actually breaking Shameful this turn and not having to go back there. I mean, he's probably never going back there anyway, but Shameful and Talisman is not something you want hanging about. So my first action, luckily he didn't have an Assassinate. If he has an Assassinate there and hits my Vanguard Warrior, again, that's rough. And I know he's running 2 in his list. But he can't have everything, and luckily he doesn't have that. So I Vanguard Warrior, and this is my first big mistake of the game. If I had triggered Satoshi earlier, I would have got the Imperial Palace, and I could have stuck it on Shameful, and he wouldn't have broken it. He would have been 1 off breaking it. So he would have won the conflict. He would not have broken Shameful. So I actually completely forgot about Satoshi's action here, and I forgot like the implications of it. I should have waited exactly until he was breaking, then triggered the action, and then seen what I'd fished out. Because in that case, the Imperial Palace, you know, it's a lucky play, but it's still a play that stops the province breaking. So that first big mistake there, I lose Shameful Display. On the plus side, despite that misplay, I am 6 cards to his 4 and 12 honour to his 8. And I've got 2 Watch Commanders in hand. So I'm thinking, you know, I'm in a decent position here. And unless he can find a lot of political buffs in that hand size of 4, he's almost certainly not breaking the fertile fields I put the palace on. I love putting the Imperial Palace on fertile fields. I mean, after Shameful, it's the best place for it. I want them to... I just love drawing cards. Getting them to attack a province where I'm able to draw cards is great. You know, it's a sort of net gain here. He gains a card, I lose a card. Well, I don't lose a card. I've drawn one for fertile fields. You know, so one of my hand gets discarded. Oh dear. Time for a coffee top up in a minute. I can't remember what he hits. It is a fan, which is not bad, really, all things considered. I think the sword would have been the least impactful card in my hand to hit in this matchup, but hey ho. Maybe not. Me using the Vanguard on Satoshi did dissuade him from doing Void. I think he's perhaps slightly concerned about his honour, but he has 200 people leaving play, so he does bounce back up. Oh, just 1 honour person, sorry. So anyway, going into the next turn, you know, it's about even. I have a hand and board advantage, my envoy drawing me a card and giving me a fate there. Bless fun. Oh, he didn't play a Katana in that thing. He played a Kakita Blade. Yeah, he's running a 1-off Kakita Blade. So his flip is better than mine. I flip at 2 holdings, one of which I can fetch with Satoshi anyway, and a Witch Hunter. I'm slightly concerned here because I need to bid 1, but I also want a conflict character. I haven't got any saves, so I don't really want to charge that Witch Hunter. I've got to buy it. So I buy the Witch Hunter. And I'm just like, right, I've got to pass and get the conflict fate, obviously, because it's all I can do. He can only buy 2 characters, and he's almost certainly going to try and start fating up his board a bit, so he's only really... You know, there's still potential here for me to affect his board with the Void Ring. He's got a difficult choice to make here for his first conflict as well, because neither of us have honoured characters again. My easiest way of getting an honoured character is sadly now broken. But hey. I'm going to cost him some honor this turn. I assume he's going to bid 5, so if I can get him down to 5 honor with a 1 bid, I'll still be 9 cards after everything's said and done to his 10. But he doesn't buy anyone, he hard passes me. So of course I Satoshi. I get a duplicate of Satoshi, which is fantastic. And I draw a card from my storehouse, which is Assassination, which is fucking brilliant because obviously he's just got Daijeji Narishima. So I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna assassinate the crap out of Daijeji Narishima with the honor I steal from one bidding you. So now I'm feeling pretty good. I've got a good board. I've got more honor. I've got assassination in hand. I draw up into a 3rd watch commander. So my strategy, I'm thinking maybe I can just go for the throat here and try and get a quick win by sort of playing my watch commanders aggressively. Sorry, it's just time for a bit of coffee here, gang. It's too nice not to be drinking coffee. If you're watching this, you're just watching this to sit down and have a little chill with your old boy Dan K while he rambles over his competitive Jigoku playing. There we go. So he's got a tough call here. Attacking here doesn't really get him anything. Apart from a fake. He's certainly not going to be able to trigger any rings. I've got complete control of where he attacks with the talisman. So yeah, it's not the best spot. So he passes his conflict, and I'm second player, so I'm like, right, I'm passing the fuck out of that conflict back. I don't want to walk into a province which is going to advantage him and disadvantage me. If I hit Shameful now, and I will because my luck at Province Roulette is not great, I just basically turn on his cancel, and I don't want to do that. So I cede a conflict, because really that means either he has to attack me and get instantly assassinated, meaning I get a free break back, or he doesn't pass his conflict, and whatever. Oh, another thing I forgot to comment on, massively important, I won the favour last turn with that Imperial Palace flip, which took it from a turn where it could have been really awful. Here's 2 conflicts to my 0. I just made it better. Losing the favour versus Crane is awful, because if they flip Yoshi, that's basically good game a lot of the times. They start bidding 1, or not even. They just bid 3 and still draw 6 cards a phase. And on top of that, they've got this absolute beat stick character just wailing on you. You've got like maybe a turn to figure that shit out, or come across some counterplay. So I was very happy to win favour this turn. I'm not happy to see the Imperial Palace on his side of the board, but they're essentially just cancelling each other out now, and it's going to be hard for him to win conflicts against my board with his. So I'm feeling good about holding on to that favour. I was just checking my discard pile for Satoshis. It looks like I discarded one there to the roulette, so I've only got one more Imperial card in my deck at this point, which is Kurada District. Because I discarded a Satoshi, I duped a Satoshi, and there's the storehouse, and there's the Imperial Palace. So, yeah, I can't use his action again. I think that's what I was checking there. So, it's a shame. I think there's only a keeper in the discard, but too risky to do a full mill with Satoshi. I mean, yeah, I've got a lot of honor, but I don't want to be spending that on shuffling my deck at this point. Especially when I've got Policy Debate and Assassination in hand. Alright. He plays a steward. Wise. He's thinking defensively, so obviously everyone knows about the Steward of Law for Shame combo. And that's probably what he's preparing to do here. Because obviously Okay, so he's past his next conflict opportunity as well. So he's playing this turn defensively. He's trying to get board presence back. He's trying to squirrel some fate away. So I've got nothing to fear. I've got nothing to lose from making an attack here. You know, I could at least make him spend cards. I preemptively put a watch commander on the witch hunter because I'm aware that um, he has the first action in this conflict. So by the time I've put a watch commander on my witch hunter, he's already performed an action which may have rendered the conflict finished, aka for shame. So yeah, if you're attacking, put the watch commander on before you attack, and if you're defending, wait for the first action to put the watch commander on. That's the best way to scupper your opponent's plans with that card. It is a supremely powerful card. And I've got all three here. I'm feeling pretty good. So he cleverly defends with both characters. I do military here because I'm sort of was hoping to break. Okay, so I attack into meditations on the Tau, which is, I don't know if it's worse than fertile fields, but it's not. I hate attacking into meditations with a two-faded witch hunter. You're just like, oh, for Christ's sake. And look, so first thing he does is for shame. I mean, it was, chances are he was going to have it, but he loses an honor for it at least. He does neuter my only conflict for the turn, but doesn't matter. I policy debate the Steward of Law here. And again, I'm kind of okay with even losing this if he wants to harbor me. He doesn't, though. He does not even dare try. So, I look at his hand. This is tough for me. I think I end up discarding Way of the Crane. Two political rivals is fucking brutal, though. Especially if you just sit on fate. So I am considering, even though it's not very high impact, I am considering just chucking a rival as well. Just because I don't want to have to deal with two big coverting guys. And I do, I chuck a rival. That might be a mistake. I don't know. What do you think, viewers at home? Do you think that was a mistake? Like, share, and post in the comments, or whatever the kids say. Yeah, in retrospect, it's just a stacked hand, isn't it? It's a stacked hand. All of those are good cards. Ready for Battle's obviously a dead card, really, in this matchup. Yeah, I mean, I think that pick was a play for the later pick. So as JD Source would say, play for the now or play for the later. Playing for the now would have been taking a Legion of One, for shame, all the way of the Crane. Playing for later, admit defeat, political rival. So it's another turn of me losing all my conflicts. There was only one out of a potential four even played this turn, so hilarious. Characters fade. I do end up assassinating that Steward of Law. Just because I'm really not up for the second for shame getting hit. Shame's much less scary when Steward's not about. I really don't mind him for shaming a witch hunter, for example, and dishonouring him. I don't know. That policy debate seemed, I don't know, I guess I was just thinking ahead of time. But that can be bad when you don't have a stranglehold on the game already, you know. If you're playing for the now, you need every incremental advantage you can get. I guess I was kind of hoping that my crab late game would come alive there. Ugh, that's another expensive flop for me, and he's now got a fate lead on me. But he doesn't get rid of any of his province's stuff, I don't think. Maybe he discards guest? Did he have a turn one guest? I don't know. I just think, fuck this. Witch Hunters, I've already got one. I'm just going to get Casada, and I'm just going to make his life harder at this point. Again, I could charge Casada. I don't really want to lose him though, you know? I don't have any saves on the board, no reprieves. I've got a stranglehold on the honor now. I've got both watch commanders. I've still got the talisman. I was a little annoyed he didn't try and attack me last turn because obviously I could have just sent that into fertile fields and got an extra card, but he cleverly didn't. The good news is my Witch Hunter is now Sans Fate, so I can just happily farm away at Meditations this turn. Just reminding myself of his hand from his policy debate. Choices, choices. We're watching this. I may speed up the video as we watch it because watching the whole hour and a half of decision-making points is not always super interesting. Sorry guys, I forgot you could do this. Maybe I can't do this. I'm sure you can. Whoops. Shit. What have I done? What have I done? Oh, right. Lol. Sorry, guys. Awful YouTubing there. Right, so he bids 2 and I bid 1. He buys more characters. Good shout, really. But he's now down to 4 honor, and I can put a witch hunter, a watch commander on every character on the board. Still no chud though. No little low cost guys. Nothing in my hand. I do have a save for my witch hunter, which is good news. There's that way of the crane that I didn't discard coming back to haunt me. I only have 1 event in my hand. No, 2. So, 3. Sorry. God Christ, what's wrong with me? I can't count. So I'm thinking for the turn, I probably want to. Actually put some pressure on this turn because I can. I go void, which is the right call here. I don't want to lose. I've only got 1 save, and I want to keep the Witch Hunter about. And I really don't want to lose that talisman prematurely, especially as I don't have any more Satoshi dupes. So I attack void into Meditations with the Witch Hunter, which seems like a good line of play. I'm feeling pretty good, you know. I've got charge. I've got a katana. Maybe I don't use charge here. Maybe I do, actually. Maybe I try and just bait the cancel. He's only got 7 cards. He's not drawing loads, and you know, it's another honor lost at this point. Every card he plays is absolutely critical. So maybe I'm not too worried about him cancelling charge here. He solo defends with the Brash Samurai. Maybe fearing some kind of a second assassination on my part. That would be fucking lucky. The tense moments as people choose their characters. Right, so he attempts to use Brash Samurai's ability, but good old Kasada cancels it. This is one of the things I'm glad Jigoku does for you, is remember Kasada's trigger, because I always fucking forget that. Okay, so I charge in the Crisis Breaker here, and some of you might think, well, that's a bit of a waste. Now you're definitely breaking the Fireball Province. Well, yes and no. I think I'm just a bit desperate for a character to stand this turn. And I'm thinking, hey, if he does military back, I can use the Crisis Breaker to defend, then I can sacrifice the Crisis Breaker after he's defended, and get the most value out of my characters. So I break meditations. I resolve the void. What do I do? Do I void the Brash Samurai here? Or do I void Kaizen? I void the Samurai? What the fuck kind of line of play is that? What am I doing? I legit have no idea why I do that. I 100% should have avoided Kaizen in that situation. Maybe I was worried that, like... I don't know what I was worried about. Maybe I'm gambling that he might get... No, he's not going to walk into meditations of Kaizen. I think that's just another misplay there, guys. Seems like a poor choice. 100% should have probably voided Kaizen. Who's fucking annoying, by the way. Anyway. Riveting stuff here. Ugh, there was a lot of careful conflict selections in this game. I've got the Keeper Monk in the bin as well. I keep thinking, oh, I want to go in for that, but I keep having to pass on the Earth Ring because either there's a more important ring I need to get, or I need the Fate or something. You know, that Void Ring netted me a handy 2 Fate there. So we're at turn 3 now. Because there's been so few conflicts in the game, the rings are pretty stacked. But now it's, you know, now it's mid-game and my board advantage is pretty real and I'm looking to push and kind of close out. And he's playing very, very cautiously because he has to, otherwise he loses. But as you can see, there's still a considerable amount of time left on this video, so it's not quite as open and shut as I'd hoped. Christ, and he's having some existential crisis here over what he wants to attack. Can't really blame him. It's not a great situation. And he just ends up passing his conflict. Yeah, seems good. He can just try and like waste time a bit, drag the clock down. You know, hope my board fades. Hope I don't draw into my saves. Try and just stay ahead with Fate. But, you know, the unfortunate thing about him passing is kind of just gives me free reign to wail on provinces. So meditation's broken, so I can use Satoshi to attack now, but I'm still a bit worried because obviously Shameful's in the row and Shameful's fucking awful for me to hit as well. So maybe I just pass my conflict and stand here. And I passed my second conflict opportunity, just like that. I'm like, nope, not playing your bullshit. You play my game. And he doesn't play my game, he just passes as well. So another highly eventful conflict phase there. Total of 1 conflict, this time me. I don't forget to reprieve, that's very good. I mean, had I forgotten to reprieve their pass, I would have felt really dirty asking for a take back. And I wouldn't probably have, would have just accepted it. Okay, so I probably should have done a second conflict with my Witch Hunter there. That seems like an error. I think what I was worried about was him dropping his political rival and basically going to town on one of my provinces. But I think I'm just being far too cautious there. I probably should have done that second conflict. Just flipped a province at the very least. Another line of play there. I tell you though, when your head's deep in the game, you're not, you know, you're playing for the now, you're playing 3 turns ahead, you're sort of wondering every possible line of counterplay from your opponent. You sometimes make weird choices that may not seem obvious. I mean, I don't know what Pass Me is thinking at this time. He's got a plan of some kind. Maybe he's just thinking, I can outlast you. I know I've got these two watch commanders in my hand, essentially locking him out from any kind of thing he draws. But by not being more proactive, I'm letting him draw better characters. Him not like taking things off his provinces is helping me out a bit. So he discards his Imperial Palace at this turn because this is like the fourth turn he hasn't got the favour, or the third turn. He's feeling it's just taking up slots now, which is probably a good play. I keep mine. I should probably have chucked it there because I've got the rebuild, but I keep my Witch Hunter and I keep my Palace, and I draw a third Witch Hunter and a Shrew Jisuki. At this point, I know I'm one-bitting. There's Fate on the Rings. My hand's not expensive. I'm not really fucked about getting the pass Fate. So I'm just like, fuck this shit. Let's get some goddamn characters on the board and really shake him up a bit. No saves at this minute in time, so currently, as it stands, the Witch Hunter and Mia Satoshi are leaving play at the end of this round. And because of the complete lack of conflicts done, probably playing around that talisman, it's been pretty low impact this game. Well, I don't know, it moved it to shameful and that whole thing happened, but it's only actually had one trigger. And you know, now that I'm watching this back, I'm sort of thinking, was this his strategy? He's thinking, well, I can't really win a conflict while that talisman's on the board, so I just pass endlessly, building up fate, until I just flop some good characters. Right. I just think, screw that. I buy the Witch Hunter with a fate, so I can play one card. It was rough. The annoying thing about this game, I always just seem to not have one more. I always seem to just need one more fate than what I needed. I always seem to need one more fate than what I had. He does now have Hotaru and Asami on the board, which means that he could potentially get a double airing tap and Asami, which would really take him out of the pressure zone. But he's first player, and I've still got my talisman, so he's going to have a hell of a time attempting to trigger that airing if that's his bag. So he does military first, I guess. He now knows where Meditations is. It's a soft province. I'll start looking at Kikita Kaizen's ability here. Always forget what that shit does. Something about sending people home. Now, I don't want to like all-in defend this because I'm pretty sure Kaizen just sends everyone home if he wins. So I think I just put in a big guy. Also, I know he's got admit defeat in hand here, so I'm almost like, let's make him admit defeat. 8 cards in hand. Still not seen a cancel. I know some of his hand, I don't know the rest of it. Odds are he's probably drawn one at this point. But I've got a charge. So I think what I do here is I just solo defend with Kisada. Because I'm like, fuck it. I know, maybe I don't. I'd like to think I did. I do. That's good. Good on you, Pastan. Got your shit together. So he has to burn actions here to make sure admit defeat goes off. And so the first thing I, of course, do is put Watch Commander on Hida Kasada. I probably misplay this a bit. If I defend with both, he probably still has to burn an action in order to use Kikita, whatever his name is, Kaizen. But instead, because I solo defend, he burns Kikita Kaizen's ability to Kasada. And now he's completely free to do admit defeat. So I think I was sort of almost trying to bait this from him at this point, just get him to spend the card so he loses his honour. And my counterplay was rebuild the forgotten, not the forgotten, rebuild the favourable grounds and then move the witch hunter into the conflict. And yeah, look, that's exactly what I'm doing. He does indeed have a cancel for my rebuild though, so that doesn't happen. However, that's a card spent and another honour lost for him, so he's on 3 honour left now. He's dangerously close to dying. I can almost taste victory at this point, which obviously doesn't happen based on the amount of time left of this video. But yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, cool, spend your cards. I don't even really care about losing this contest. So I think, like, now I'm thinking, it's unlikely he has a second cancel in hand. If he does have a second cancel, that takes him down to 1 honour, because I'm definitely going to charge in that Witch Hunter at this point. There we go, he uses his admit defeat, he goes down to 2 honour. He's very, very low now. I definitely right, well, fuck it, I'm charging. So charge is what I do. My board's so big at this point that losing character to the water ring, or having a character bowed from the water ring, isn't really super impactful. Anyway, I think screw it. At this point, I'm going to move the conflict across to Fertile Field so I can draw a card. Might as well get some use out of that talisman. And there it is, Wear the Crab. At this point, I'm thinking, God, if only I had a decent fucking target. So I guess I could have Wear the Crab this Shrewd Yasuki and force him to discard Kaizen here. But that just feels really bad, man. Especially as that Yasuki's got a fate on it, and I haven't used his ability this turn. So I just sack it off. I don't even charge. I guess I feel I don't need to charge. Interesting. Probably should have charged there. Could have won that conflict. But never mind. Maybe I've got other plans to that Witch Hunter sitting on my provinces. 3 fucking Witch Hunters, man. I don't need this many Witch Hunters. I mean, they are exceptional, but you sort of, their ability becomes unusable after a while because I've got no one to fucking sacrifice. First world problems, am I right, gang? Oof. So what do I do here? It's my turn to attack. So he's thinking on some kind of action. There is so much fate on the rings here at this point. It's money for everyone. He passes. I should pass too. And then what I should do is do a military conflict with my standing Witch Hunter. It looks like I was about to sacrifice someone to stand someone, but instead what I do is attack with both Witch Hunters, which doesn't seem optimal. Definitely going for the right conflict. Why do I use both? I can just use one and he can't do anything anyway. Of course it's fucking shameful display. Of course it's shameful display. So, great track record there. I walk straight into shameful display. I turn on that. He now honours his Doji Hotaru, so I've now got to deal with that shit. See, what I should have done here was just use the Witch Commander. Sorry, the Witch Commander. The Witch Hunter with the Watch Commander on him. And just put the Katana on to win. I don't know why I'm attacking with both here. That seems really wasteful. Then I use either of the Witch Hunter's ability to chuck Mia Satoshi away to stand Kasada and win the game. So what the fuck am I doing here? Yeah. See, this is kind of like watching yourself make really suboptimal lines of play for no reason. And now I choose to... I don't know why. I choose to stand Kasada now? Why do I do it now? Oof. Well, either way, shameful display breaks. So maybe that's why I sent both Witch Hunters, just to make sure the province broke. If I just sent the one, I guess I wouldn't have gotten the break, but I don't really care about the break at this point. I just want to dishonour him. So now I think I'm worrying about that second political rival I left in hand. Yeah, I feel like I overcommitted to that conflict. Breaking there wasn't important. He is on 1 honour. I think in my haste to try and win, I just make some really questionable decisions. He passes his action. I definitely don't pass mine. I think maybe that's why I didn't discard. That makes no sense. What are you doing, Dan? And for some reason, I played my third Watch Commander out in that conflict, and I had absolutely no need to do that. That's really bad. Oh. I mean, the noose is already fully tied. He just needs to get into it now. I don't need to overcommit. And I don't even use the Witch Hunter's ability to stand anyone here? What the fuck am I doing? Really, really bad decisions here. So first thing I do is use box so he can't kneel my guy with his box. My action management is good, but my lines of play are really off here. So the right thing to do would be not to have played that fucking Watch Commander on the Witch Hunter. It would have been to play it on the Yasuki now as my first action, thus preventing him from doing political rival. Because now... Oh my god. Just awful. Just awful. I completely shagged this. This whole turn. I have a really unhyped court games, which does nothing. He uses Kikita Asami, and he gets that crucial honour that takes him from 1 to 2, keeping him in the game. Ayasuki, I obviously take Gaijin Customs here, But at this point, looking at the way I've played this turn, it's just really bad. Overcommitted on that first conflict, misplayed the Watch Commander when I didn't need to. Got unlucky with a shameful hit, but that happens. Didn't stand anyone with the Witch Hunter yet. I guess maybe I'm saving that for my second conflict, but still. Should have had more defenders here. Do I remember to use the Fertile Fields trigger? Oh no, he already attacked Fertile Fields. I already used the Talisman. So now he's got 3 honoured guys. He's got an honoured dude leaving play as well, so he's going to go back up to 3 honour. So I've well and truly fluffed the chance to win a dishonour victory here with that really bad strategy. And I can now see what jokingly was talking about when he said I could have won this 2 turns ago. Yeah. Right, so now I stand a character which is fucking worthless. So bad. And I chuck the Witch Hunter with the Watch Commander on. Right, so the right strategy this turn is just use the Witch Hunter with the Watch Commander on as my first attack. Solo Shameful. Use a Katana to win. Don't break it. It gives me more characters to defend his second conflict with. I also have a Watch Commander to spend, so he can't play the political rival, otherwise he just instantly dies. So he can't win the political conflict. And then I just win with my follow-up conflict by, I guess, trying to fire ring him out. Getting unopposed somehow. Fuck knows. Either way, better position than I'm in now. Because now he's got a bloody political rival. I mean, you could say, you can go, oh, what if? You know, he might have played that turn differently, but what looked like a real certain victory is now looking less certain, and he's actually got a very good board now as well. I'm doing an unopposed political void conflict. It's not unopposed, he favourable grounds in Asami. Situations like this where backhanded compliment is such a great card. You're just like, boop, you die. The light at the end of the tunnel is, if I win this conflict, despite having fluffed the dishonour victory, I am 3 breaks to his 1, and that means that I can attack his stronghold next turn. So a conquest victory is within sight. The bad side is that his board's much better than mine going into this next turn. And if he has a second cancel, that Way of the Crab is doing jack shit. So I Void Ring, I get rid of Asami, which is absolutely the right move. So he's got 2 honoured characters leaving play now, so he goes back up to 4 honour, and that makes it much harder for me to win. I win the turn, I win the favour, and I'm thinking, right, I've probably got one last turn in me to try and win this game, because after that my whole board disappears, and that's not good. So off Satoshi goes to the Talisman. That's a bummer, I'm only running 1, so that really powerful card leaves play. Oof. And I'm really thinking now, I could play Way of the Crab on the Yasuki and get rid of the political rival, but I'm worried about the cancel. I'm also I think I kind of want to just not lose the character at this point as well, you know. I think I want to hold on to the Yasuki. That's a great flop for me. I get a Casada dupe. I've got an Iron Mine at long bloody last. Yeah, it just comes at the exact right time. I've got a second Yasuki and I've got a Witch Hunter, so I think what I do is buy the Yasuki and then I'm just like, right, I'm going to charge that Witch Hunter. The bad news is my opponent's flop's pretty decent as well. He's got a Cautious Scout. I think at this point I'm like, right, I'm switching fucking gears. 4 Honor is not enough to win. I fucked that. So now I'm just going to get cards in my hand. It's worth noting that because, even though I've drawn almost half my conflict deck, haven't seen a Spyglass yet, which is a bummer. Right, Kaizen comes down. I'm like, right, fuck giving him any more fate than I need to, so I pass, and I've got first conflict, so I'm definitely taking all the fate off that Earth Ring. So good on you, Johnny. You did well there. My hand is good. I didn't spend the Gaijin Customs last turn, so I don't have a fucking unicorn card in play there, so I can't use it. So I think I'm thinking like, screw Dishonor, I'm bidding 5. He bids 1, he's still playing it cautious, which is fine. So I go down to 9 Honor, he goes back up to 7. With my, I don't bid 5, I bid 4. That's a bit more conservative. Good on you, Dan. Just in case I draw an Assassinate. But there's that all-important unicorn card I need to draw. I draw at the absolute perfect timing and Yuchi Wayfinder. So I'm thinking, great, now I don't have to poke his stronghold. I can just use the Wayfinder and see what's underneath it. See what I'm going to be going up against. So of course the first thing I do in the draw phase is play the Yuchi Wayfinder, and he's got entrenched position on there, which I'm like, ugh, Rally would have been better at this point. Because I could just poke with something, flip, and then just go all in on the military and win. But he doesn't have Rally, he's got entrenched position, so now I've got a pretty big hurdle to get over. Because on one hand, I'm not going to be able to out-political him with that fucking rival on the table. Probably should have Way of the Crab that Yasuki in the Fate phase when I had the choice. That seems like a poor decision. But I was just worried about the cancel, I think. There's no reason not to do it. So I just do a political Earth. And I do it with the Yasuki with no fate. Should probably have gone in with both Yasukis here. I've got a fan in hand. Oh yeah, that's a mistake actually. I attack with this Yasuki knowing he can just box me instantly off the bat. And I'm like, shit Dan, that's stupid. You forgot the fucking crane box again. He does defend with a rival, which is correct. But then all he has to do here is just kneel my attacking character with his box straight away. And what does he do? He passes. So I don't know why he doesn't use box there. And I don't know why I didn't put my other fucking Yasuki into the conflict. Maybe I wanted him to defend? I don't know. God. Right. That's a pretty weak Yasuki because they're both cards that I have in hand, so I don't think I just decide on not taking the second way of the crab. I just instead decide to honour my Shrewd Yasuki and try and win this Earth conflict. Really questionable decisions in when it comes to declaring characters for conflicts in this game. So he actually cancels my court games. So he does have a second cancel. So it now looks like I can't win this Earth conflict. Of course, if I just put in a second character, that would be fine. But I didn't do that. Considering I've seen 3 Witch Hunters in this game, the seriously low amount of times I've used their ability is pretty startling. Witch Hunter saturation, folks. So I lose that Earth conflict, which is stupid, because now I've turned off Casada's awesome ability. Oh, that's probably why I didn't use the box, because Casada just would have cancelled it. Okay, yeah, that makes complete sense. He's not being a bad player. Silly me. Anyway, Casada's now off, so now he's free to use his box however he wants. So, yeah, made a mistake not declaring the second Yasuki into that conflict. Should have really tried to win it. God, it's so sunny out here. It's lovely. Oh. So because of my hand, if I don't manage to break his stronghold this turn, I do have another crack at it. And the good news is I can probably get Hatari to leave play this turn if I can win a Void Ring. I'm checking his discard for cancels. Okay. So whatever he's attacking is blank because of the Cautious Scout's ability. He attacks Meditations. Okay, that's probably the right call. Is he attacking military or something? What do I do? Please be smart, Dan. Please play the game well. Riveting stuff. This is why the Discord leads so much fun, man. It's very high standards of play. You know, you're sort of constantly second guessing each other. Also, you're trying to like outplay each other in the now and in the later. So I think I'm just like, fuck defending this shit. I'm gonna wear the crab straight away and just stop this from happening. Ugh. That is a weak way of the crab. But that does actually stop the conflict. Because he went for the Void Ring, and that now allows me to go for the Void Ring, and I think I definitely want to do that. I wonder if it had just not been better to defend and then just wear the crab in the fate phase. God. Yeah, interesting line of play again there. But hey, it stops the conflict. The Void Ring doesn't go off. So that now means I can have a go. Tense shit. In my head, I'm thinking, right, I've definitely got to charge in this fucking Witch Hunter because I've got a Reprieve in hand and I've got an Iron Mines on the board, so that is good news for Danny. No, what are you doing? Don't pass your conflict opportunity. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think that was a misclick. Jesus Christ. I have to do Void here. I'm a bit worried about Kikita Kaizen's ability, so I go in with my two biggest military guys. So he is going to struggle trying to send anyone home. Maybe it would have just been a good idea to send in Casada on his own here. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I have no idea why I didn't use that second Yasuki on my political attack. Could have had an extra card in hand now. Could have potentially drawn that second assassination to deal with the fucking cautious scout, and then that way of the crab would be a super hype one. Some very suboptimal lines of play here. But hey, you live and you learn. So I go Void with 2. He only defends with Kaizen, which is probably correct. This is unlikely I'm going to break it. I think I do my maths wrong here as well. I'm like, oh cool, I just need to charge in the Witch Hunter and stick a Katana on and then I'm breaking. Yeah, I leave the Yasuki and the Wayfinder at home because there's no point in me putting them into a conflict where they can just get dueled by Kaizen and then all my guys get sent home. Especially as I brilliantly turned off Kasada's ability with the Yasuki by not winning that first Earth conflict. God, I played this turn badly as well. I'm so advantaged in this game and I'm sort of squandering it and it's painful to watch. Charge the Witch Hunter, Daniel. Why are you not charging? Maybe I'm just worried about him getting dueled. He doesn't even use the duel. So I'm obviously worrying about something I don't need to. Maybe he's trying to bait me to play the charge. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. I win the Void conflict. I don't break his stronghold. Annoyingly. But I do get rid of that fucking Deiji Hitaru. It's just a pain in my ass. Of course, that now means he can safely attack Meditations on the Tau. Again. I also think, looking back on it, taking the second core games may have been suboptimal. Instead of going for that second way of the crab. Should have probably gone for the second way of the crab. I now Gaijin Customs Kisada. I guess it doesn't matter if I use the Kisada or the Witch Hunter here, they're the same. Right, so he declares conflict and he's going in with an unabashed Strength 9 Hataru. So this has the potential to be quite high impact now. If he has Noble Sacrifice in hand, actually it doesn't do jack shit, so there's Iron Mines. Sweet. Right, so he does go for Meditations on the Tau. At this point, I'm just like, God, fucking break that province. Yeah, meditations is kind of unhyped sometimes. It's either great or totally useless. So I think I just think, just take everyone into the conflict here. I'm just like, yep, screw this. Which is risky because he has policy debate. I'm losing that reprieve. So I'm just thinking, right, I've got 7. So the first thing I do is box, so I stop my Isuki from getting killed, or sorry, getting knelt by his own box. So now there's his only target for his own box is my Wayfinder, which if he does, he'll knock 2 off my total and take me down to 8. I don't think I'm too worried about that though, because I've got court games in hand, and I can just dishonor Hataru. He probably also has court games, but at least he has to spend honor to do shit here. I don't know though, it's tough. He passes. I use the Shrewd Yasuki to get the Skirmisher in hand, which is absolutely the right call. As the boards shrink, that covert becomes very valuable. Especially, he passes again, so he forgets to use his box, which is really bad here because if he doesn't forget that, then I'm forced to use a card. I mean, I still don't think I lose just because court game swings it for me, but in his head, he's probably like, fuck! And yeah, that was a pretty big misplay there. So I win the favour again. I save my board with Iron Mines. That Iron Mines was really good timing. He loses Hataru, which is really good news. And now I'm 4 characters to his 2 characters. So even though I played the last 2 turns pretty atrociously, all things said, well, maybe not atrociously, but just pretty suboptimally. Yeah, and now he realises that he forgot his box. Yeah, and it is a little bit late there because we're in the fake phase, but that's a bummer, man. I know the agony of missing triggers. It's not nice. Right. So we go into the last turn. I keep that 3rd Witch Hunter. I probably should just fucking discard it at this point. But I don't. I keep it, and I flop Shuichi, Borderlands Defender, and Witch Hunter. And he flops Yoshi, who's useless, another Hataru, who's expensive, Cautious Scout, and Guest of Honor. I can't see him investing in one big character, and he doesn't do that. He gets Cautious Scout. And I'm just like, right, screw this. I buy Shuichi with Fate. I'm like, yep, if this is, just in case it's going more turns. I don't think it is, but I'm prepared for it at this point. Now, and he buys Hataru with 1 last Fate, and I'm like, I could hard pass him here, but there's no real point in that. He's first player, and I've got a defender on the thing, so I buy the defender with a Fate, which is the right move, because the defender can't be moved or bowed when in a conflict. And I've got 2 Fate and Shuichi, and there's Rings with Fate on, so I've got potential 4 Fate to spend this turn, so I'm okay with losing the passing Fate. He ups his bid, I drop mine, I draw 3, and bam, there it is. That's the card I need. Assassination. So I'm pretty sure at this point I've won the game. And then he plays Way of the Crane just to really spit in my mouth and say, no, Dan, you presumptive fucker. I'm just going to turn my Voice of Honor right back on. So if you try playing your assassination, I'm going to cancel the shit out of it. So now I'm thinking, great, I gotta somehow try and bait this third cancel that he may or may not have. But ultimately, I feel like my path to victory is defend whatever conflict he throws at me, and then covert Kaizen and Hataru with my skirmisher and Shuichi, and just go all in on the military and hopefully win. So, he uses the cautious scout. And I'm thinking, are you attacking military then, buddy? Because if you're doing a political poke cautious scout, that's risky. So he weirdly pokes fertile fields, and I guess what he's trying to do here is he knows he's got cautious scout's ability up, so maybe he's thinking, I'll attack the scout. The province is blank anyway, so I will I'll try and get a solo break. So I stick the Yasuki, the defender, and the witch hunter in, because I guess what I do anyway is sacrifice the Yasuki to stand the witch hunter on my conflict. I'm just like, fuck this shit, there's some stuff I want to get done. I might as well use the defender to defend anyway, and I might as well draw a card from the Yasuki. So I really overcommit here. And that's a great fucking couple of cards from my Yasuki. I get policy debate, which is exactly what I need. I take policy debate. So now I can look in his hand, and I can see if he does have that third cancel. And if he does, he either has to cancel my policy debate, or I get to see his whole hand and chuck something away. So now I'm feeling assured of my victory, because I just policy debate, then I assassinate the scout, then I draw a card from fertile fields. I win the conflict as well, so no one bows. Then I stand my witch hunter back up with his ability, probably using it for the fucking first time in this game. And at this point, I'm like, right, no bullshit, I'm just going to play out my hand. So I do stick a fan on the witch hunter, so it's got a nice ornate fan now to hide behind while making snide comments in the court, thematically speaking. That is a really great policy debate situation for me. So I bid 1. He bids 1. And I look at his hand. And really the only card he can do that doesn't lose him the game automatically at this point is charge. Because that way, that's the only way he can get a character into the conflict on my return military swing. So I chuck the charge, so there's absolutely no chance of that happening. Then I quite callously assassinate the shit out of that cautious scout. Bang. So no third cancel there. Maybe he's already used 3, I forget. So the scout dies. Now I can use fertile fields. I guess his plan was to use Legion of One there to try and break the iron mines. He's still trying to play the game here, which is, you got to respect him for that, you know. He's still just trying to hold out for another turn, so my board falters and vanishes. And look at that, I use fertile fields and finally draw a fucking spyglass. At 12 conflict cards left in my deck. Brilliant. All 3 in the bottom quarter of my deck, or third. Right, so I win that, which is great. I stand my witch hunter back up. Don't really need the defender here. Now all I need to do to win is play the skirmisher, put the spyglass on the witch hunter, march into the conflict, which has probably got to be air just so I can get a fate. I'll covert his last two dudes, and having seen his hand, I'm pretty sure there's nothing he can do, and I win. Bang, there it is. So even though I dragged this game out a bit by making some suboptimal plays for 2 turns, I did eventually just keep my board around long enough and draw into the answers I needed, and my saves came at the right time as well, so that was really handy. Tense game. Tense game. But you know, at this point I'm like, shit, yeah, I'm gonna win. I'm going into the top 16 for the first time ever in the Discord League. Thank fuck. Personal milestone, woo. Yeah. He passes. I'm just double, triple checking his hand there to make sure there's no ill fate that can befall me. Bang, there's that Witch Hunter that's looking very much like a Voltron now. Right, so here we go. Last showdown. Double stealth, or covert as it's called in this game. We go military air. I trigger the spyglass to draw a card. It's rebuild, so that's sweet. It's irrelevant at this point though. So he has no way of defending a 20 strength military conflict on his stronghold, and he concedes the game because at that point there's nothing he can do. And there you go. There you go. Tense game. Felt pretty in control after that lucky pluck of the Imperial Palace, which sort of set the pace there for me. And despite fumbling it massively in the middle, I just held on and came back to win it via conquest in the latter half of the game. He was a great opponent. He was a really nice guy as well. He played very well. I think maybe he was agonising a bit over forgetting to do that box trigger. But, you know, that doesn't really matter so much. Because, yeah, I had the court games in hand. And looking at his hand at the end there, it didn't appear like he had a court game. So I still would have run that anyway. But yeah, anyway, hopefully this long rambling video has been enjoyable for you. And as educational for you as it was for me. What I learned is play more efficiently, Dan. But anyway, yeah, until next time, have a nice day, guys. Peace out.